Hello and welcome. This is Ruby
Hello.
Faye, the founder of the Heart of All Women, and I am so happy to welcome you to our weekly Facebook show, Women of Wisdom. And this week, I'm so happy to have two of our members, Emily from California and Deborah from Dallas. So, ladies, thank you so much for joining us. So, Emily, tell us a little bit more about where you're from.
I'm from the Sacramento Valley, where it's pretty darn hot right now. And I've grown up in California my whole life, closer to San Francisco area for most of my life, but now I'm a little inward.
Yeah, and Emily, you're like a busy mom of two boys, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They keep me pretty busy, and it's a really luscious, nonstop, juicy life.
Mm. So, Deborah, you're from Texas, and I know you're an animal lover. I love all the things that you do with animals. So, tell us a little bit more about where you're from in Texas.
Well, I live in Winsboro, Texas, which is northeast Texas, which is pine trees and hills and lakes. So it's very, very beautiful. And I've been here for about 20 years. But
Wow.
I've lived in California. I've lived in England. I've lived on
Wow.
the East Coast. I've lived on the North and the South. So I've covered most of the areas of the United States. And so that's been really fun to meet people from all over.
Mm.
Yes, I love animals. I'm down to one feral cat now, which is what we call a wild cat. It's just a cat that, has been wild and doesn't want to get too close to you, but it lets me feed it and take care of it the best I can. And then I have a therapy cat and some other all my cats have been rescued except my therapy cat, and he picked me.
Oh, that's so interesting. Well, these ladies, Emily and Deborah, are members of the Heart of All Women, women only online sanctuary. So we call it an online sanctuary because it's a safe haven for every woman's voice. So our motto is that so no woman from anywhere around the globe ever needs to feel alone ever again, because we are here for you as part of your sisterhood. And we have women from all around the globe. So I really wanted to showcase these two women because when I first got to meet them, when Emily first became a member, she introduced herself and she talked a little bit about her art. And when I went and checked out her art, I thought, oh my God, look at this is so beautiful. She does jewelry, which we'll show you in a minute. And then she also does other beautiful art. And I just thought, oh my God, thank God I'm not a jewelry person, because otherwise I'd buy everything on her site. Because her jewelry is so beautiful, so luscious, so feminine, and it's really, really different. And we'll show you in a minute. So I thought this would be a great chance, not just be talking with the women from our community from all around the world, but to showcase their artistic gift that they're offering to the world. And then Deborah just recently posted one of her art pieces. And I thought, oh my God, I didn't know that Deborah was an artist also. So I thought, well, let's invite her to showcase her work also. So Emily, let me ask you, how did you get started with your art? And, and I'd love for you to show us some of your stuff.
All right. I've always been doing art since I was a little girl. It was sort of my little world I created, I guess. I would go lie outside in the backyard under the willow tree and just paint and draw for hours. And it was so fascinating to me to watch paint swirling, the like little glitter mica flecks like swirling in the gold paint in the sunlight. And I would just kind of get lost in it and trying to draw and figuring out how to get something from my brain onto the paper. I just love the challenge of that. And I sort of put a lot of that aside once I decided to be a stay-at-home mom. I was going in an art direction in a career, and we decided that we wanted me to raise the kids and not do daycare. And And then after about 10 years into that, I think I was going to have a mental break if I didn't do something else.
Mm.
So I started doing jewelry. And then when that got to be sort of more businessy than fun, I really noticed a lot of stress building up in my body around that. And I took a break and I started doing watercolor.
Wow.
And mostly because I find other people's watercolor really beautiful. And it was not something I could do. Everything I did looked like total crud. But then I started watching some YouTubes and just kept practicing. And I was like, oh my God, I can do it. So.
Well, so Emily, show us the jewelry you make, all right? Because that was the first thing I saw. I went into the website that had your jewelry, and I thought, wow, I've never seen anything like this before.
Oh, well, fun. That's fun jewelry then. Yeah, I dabble in a lot of different things. Most recently, I've been sort of playing with, these are some flowers. This is what they look like before I've done anything with the earrings. Flower earrings.
You can put it closer to the.
Sure.
So those are flower petals.
So these are clay flower petals that have not been treated yet.
Okay.
And then once I sort of paint on it, you can see that's an unfinished. These are sort of in the middle stage, you know, where it's like the painting has been done, but it hasn't become an earring or a necklace or anything yet. And then this might be what
Deborah,
it would look.
can you see why I thought they were like, they're so
Beautiful.
exquisite. They're beautiful. Look at them.
So that's the more finished. So I might do that, or I might do like some strange electroformed rings, or this is one of my older cuffs. Where I play with metal and polymer clay and things. And right now, what I'm working on with jewelry is a cross between the flower earrings, really feminine, and I had a meditation with a dragon eye. And so right now I'm actually painting, I don't know if I can hold it up because it's on a big board. I'm painting a whole bunch of dragon eyes. I keep looking here because they're right here. And I'm going to make some dragon eye rings and things. I think I just moved my camera. And in the meditation, I had seen a dragon eye that had an embryo in it. And I did not think that would make great art, because who's going to want to buy a ring with an embryo in it? That's a strange message, depending on how you take it. So I thought I'll just do the eye part. And the message behind it in the meditation for me, when I was like, what even is this? Like, what does that even mean? Why would my subconscious bring that up? And I kind of heard my inner voice saying, you know, the eye represents your vision. So whenever you envision yourself like reborn, like an embryo, you can recreate yourself from moment to moment to moment, like anytime you wish. And it's just a great reminder of how much we are at choice all the time, and we don't need to stay stuck in our old patterns. So it's a very I feel inspired by how empowering the message is of like, yeah, I can re-envision who do I want to be today. And I don't have to start the day with dragging an old belief forward. So
That's so beautiful, you know, because that is like true art, the story behind the art, you know? Yeah. So I think potential buyers, they would love to hear that story. Now, are you able to show any of your paintings to us? So
yes.
Deborah, can you see why I fell in love with your jewelry?
Yes.
Those flower petals look like so real, like even like the best of nature, all that luscious colors. And you painted that. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
all that jewelry was hand painted.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
So I'll show you one of my sketches first. And this might need explanation too. This guy.
You did that?
Yeah, this is a sketch size that I would do before I do an actual painting. So this just lays out my colors, where I'm going to put my colors, and sort of what the flavor is going to be. And a lot of people would be like, why are you doing this angry looking biker guy? Like, what's that about? But the inspiration behind this was actually around the Trump election time. And I was going on Facebook, and people were being so mean to each other, and over someone, being angry with someone else over their beliefs or things like that. And it was not feeding me anymore. So I kind of stopped going on Facebook for a while, and I just sort of sat with, that's my stuff. So, and I sort of sat with that, and I went, what does that bring up in me? And I thought, well, that kind of brings up where I'm judgmental with other people. And here I'm judging other people for being judgmental, but I'm that way too. I have it. And I thought, it's something I practice, though, consciousness. And I catch myself in my judgments frequently. And I felt like it was a really important message I wanted to bring forward in my art, to say, if I can see the goodness that I feel in me, in you somewhere, even if it's simply that, like, wow, I've been that pissed, or I've been that grumpy. I've had some good reasons in my life to be that grumpy. And I guess he's having that kind of, maybe he's in that place too. And being able to bring compassion in allows us to move forward in a different way, even if we don't agree with someone else's decisions or point of view or their life. It sort of brings a more neutrality to being able to just witness somebody where they're at, rather than staying stuck in a combative place that sort of doesn't really accomplish anything, and it's a spin out of energy. So that was the message behind a lot of these. I started drawing people with wings, just to say, wherever someone's at, he's just drinking a beer on a public bench, having a good time.
Are you saying all those two pieces that you just showed, you drew all that?
Yeah, and this is watercolor.
That's beautiful.
These are actually, you are so, I'm just in awe.
So these are real people. These were real images of real people. And I'm just taking them and sort of fantasizing them up and adding, the wings. Like for this girl.
Do you realize how talented you are?
Oh.
What an amazing artist you are.
Thank you.
I mean, those look like photographs to me.
Oh gosh. Well,
I mean, not that they're glossy like photographs, but it's such detail, intricate detail, So
yeah.
Now that's a watercolor?
Yeah, this is watercolor. And the funny thing is, like, I can't even tell you how many times I had to redo this wing. Like, so some of them, like, this was one of my first ones, first or second. I think actually the Indian man was my first one, because I've always been drawn to India, and I was like, I'm going to do him. He's good.
Are these on your website? Are these
on the website? And each one sort of has a story, that like for her, I've shared about when you look at people to find out what it brings up in you. And so for this one, I have a short story about, she's a young girl, but she's wearing a woman's dress and a woman's boots, and she's hugging a bunny, and she's in a dark stairwell. And I think it's really important that we nurture ourselves when we need to take time out and go into a dark stairwell. Like, sometimes we need that dark stairwell time to contemplate when we're in between a growth stage of, like for her, she's possibly uncomfortable being a young girl, but growing into womanhood and doesn't quite fit into the dress. Maybe she's...
So Emily, are your paintings for sale, or are you basically just showcasing them on your website?
I have them for sale as prints. I haven't gotten to the point where I'm like branching out into selling the real thing yet. I'm like, I don't know.
I'm not in the art world, but I imagine your stuff is very marketable. So tell us the website, and I want to come back to you after we showcase Deborah's stuff a little bit. But tell us your website where people can see these beautiful things. Now, did you want to show us one more?
Yeah, I have. This guy is my favorite right now. I'm just finishing him. You can see he's still on the board that I paint on. And I haven't come up with his story yet, except for that I love that he's a pirate. And we have a little pirate in us somewhere, you know. But he's, I made his gun have bubbles. And that bubbles always to me are sort of like a hint of joy and spirit, you know. So anyway, I'm having fun, and then I'm finishing her as well with the childlike, you know, wonder that sort of.
So what is your website that people can see your amazing art?
So my website is emilymaycreate.space. And there's a link on there that goes to Redbubble, where I have prints and clocks and, you know, whatever other funny household objects you can put your painting on.
So Emily May, E-M-I-L-Y, and then M-A-Y?
Emily May, because that's my middle name, create.space.
Okay, Emily May Create, no S at the end of create.space.
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to go check that out now, okay? Because I really did not see the extent of your art. I just mostly saw your jewelry, which I fell in love with. But you're an amazing artist for sure. Wow, wow, wow. And I want to come back because, you know, the story that you tell and everything. And I'd like to, just for a moment now, switch over to Deborah. So Deborah, what got you started with your art? Given that, you know, you're like an amazing therapist. So where does the art fit in all that?
Well, I've always loved to draw and paint and write, even as a young girl. And in my own healing process, I took my drawings that I did through my own therapy and I decided to paint them. And for many years, they've been in my office. And I've had people of all ages be able to relate to them. And I ended up writing a book called The Art of the Healing Journey.
Oh, wow.
And it has the pictures of my paintings. Let me see, let me find one that might show up here. This one's called Abandonment C. And this is where a child is feeling abandoned by her parents. There's the big cat there. So each painting has a story that goes along with it that is a part of the therapeutic process of healing from trauma. And so as I've grown as a therapist and a person, my art has changed. And so now I don't have that art on my wall. I have these other paintings. So let me give you some examples of some of how my art has changed. So this is one of my paintings. I love to go outside at night and look at the stars and the moon. That's always been very healing for me, because it always makes me feel that I'm connected to something greater than myself. So I really like this. This came from a picture someone took, and I saw it, and I thought, oh, I want to make a painting out of that.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful.
So I love the moon. And then this is the one that I posted.
Yes, that's the one that I saw online. And I just thought, wow, look at the colors.
It's really wings, but it kind of looks a little bit like a butterfly. But to me, it represents transformation. That once we've gone through some healing, and then we get our wings to really take off and thrive in life. And so that's kind of what this one represents.
That was wings. Deborah, can you move that closer? Because the thing I love about that one is the colors. Wow, look at that. So that's watercolor also.
No, it's acrylic.
It's acrylic. Okay. You can tell what kind of art. I don't know nothing about art.
Well, actually, my acrylic does, some people say it does look like watercolor. A little bit, but it's acrylic.
It's so light and airy. I love the way it feels.
Yeah, I was going to say, Deborah, you know, that's the reason why I fell in love with that, it just makes, you know what? It makes my heart feels good.
Well, good. Yeah.
You know, I wonder whether it's the colors or whether it's whether the light and airy feel. And so now you said it's the wings. Actually, it's actually not a butterfly. I thought it was a butterfly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So to me, it represents moving beyond just surviving to really thriving and being creative in life and finding our wings so we can really fly.
Wow.
Whatever it is we need to be about in our lives.
See, I would want that in my bedroom. You know, because it's not only is it beautiful, it makes my heart feel good. It's just so feminine. It's so beautiful. I think it brings me back to my own feminine.
Well, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for posting that, because I had no idea you were an artist. You know, I just knew you as an animal lover and as a great therapist. You know, who worked with a lot of women.
I do art and I write. I have 16 books.
You've written 16 books? Oh my God.
And this is my latest one, which I just love it too. I love the colors of it. And the little dragonflies. So
is that a sun in the background?
Yes.
So basically you like to have sun and moon and the real fundamental elements then feel.
Well, and even let me get this one real quick. This is another one that I really like. This is more like water.
Oh, can you bring it closer again?
Kind of like the fog in the morning and over the ocean.
Okay, so Deborah, you know what? Your art just makes me feel good.
And if you like butterflies, I do have one of a butterfly.
Oh, look at that.
Because I love butterflies.
So Deborah, what is it that you think about your art that makes me feel good and really makes me feel, I can feel my heart?
Well, I would say that's because the energy that I give to what I paint is from my heart and soul. And that it's coming more from a healing place within me that's a soulful place, different from what my original art started out as.
You know what just gave me the sense of you is I know, I haven't read about your journey, but I've heard you allude to it, right? You know, when you've been in our community, when we have these wonderful conversations and then when you've been our virtual kitchen tables where I've had a chance to get to know you. So ladies, our audience, what our virtual kitchen tables are is we have these virtual kitchen tables for 6 to 8 women. It's literally having a video chat like this with women from all around the globe. And we're talking about very personal, very, soul and heart-based topics, So that's how I've gotten to know these 2 ladies a little bit. So I know you've had a challenging childhood and challenging parts of your life. And I just want to acknowledge you because I feel like you're like a Earth Mama goddess. Who's now can hold that space for other people to heal and other women to heal.
Well, thank you.
Because you've done so much of that work now that you've sort of transformed your pain and suffering into that love. And it's being expressed in your art. And I'm sure it's being expressed in your work. And that's why when I look at your art, I feel good.
Okay, and I've got one more I want to show you. This is one of my favorites.
Wow. Isn't that interesting? I was just talking about you being Earth Goddess Mama.
That's awesome.
Before I see your art.
And to me, this is just me reaching out to embrace life and embrace, just like I've embraced everything that's happened to me and owned it. Yeah. So it's part of who I am, whatever it's been, and it's my wisdom that now allows me to embrace life.
Can you bring it forward even more, please? So I see like the what's that circle called? There's a name for that.
Well, to me, it's like a spiral,
Yeah,
because to me, as we heal, we spiral to new levels of understanding and growth.
Mm-hmm. And then what is in her heart?
Well, that's the energy of her heart, her soul heart.
Is
reaching out.
the dark thing, the darker color thing in the middle? I can't tell what that is.
Well, it's like a diamond in the, sparkling out, kind of her sparkle.
I see.
So she sparkles in her life. Well, like I'm sparkling in my life, I feel like now.
So Deborah, your art is basically on your walls, right? You don't have a website for your art, do you?
No.
I would actually,
Yeah,
I would actually encourage you to maybe create something. Maybe not a fancy website, but just even a portfolio of just your beautiful art. So, thank you both.
You're welcome. It's so fun to share.
I feel so privileged. Like I feel like I got invited into your home and your studio to show your beautiful expression. It's like it's your gift to the world, both of your gift to the world, the expression of your heart. Mm-hmm. And this is what I love about being women, isn't it? It's like both of you have busy lives, and yet there's that creative genius in both of you that you're sharing with the world. So let me ask you, what would you encourage women to do? Because, women, we've talked about this a lot in our community, how, everybody becomes first, right? The children, the husband, the job, and family, and all those obligations. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the creative impulses in women are not expressed because women don't have the time to do that, especially when they put everybody else around the world first, right? Which is so common. I'm sure you see that, Deborah, a lot in your
yes, with
your clients, right? So what would you share with our women, our audience, the women who's looking at your stuff and saying, oh my God, I would love to make jewelry. I'd love to paint. I'd love to dance. I'd love to craft or whatever it is that they want to do. What would your encouragement be for them? To take that first step to really express that part of themselves.
Well, I'd say it's a decision to do it. Mm-hmm. Because, we can keep getting distracted by all the things that pull at us. And that's kind of where I was about 3 years ago before I started developing the art that you saw today. And I just started taking the time to do it. And it kind of takes on a life of its own. I started going to a painting party that we have in our little town. And it was not only a way of expressing myself, but it was a way of reconnecting to people because I've stayed pretty secluded in my office with my clients. And so I needed something for me. And so that's kind of got me started and then it's kind of taken on a life of its own. But, we really underestimate how important and significant we are just because of who we are as women. And the value of that we underestimate. And I think that we need to carve out some time for ourselves. And it's not that it's selfish. It's imperative that we do that as women so that we can keep being nurturing and giving. But we've got to have something for ourselves in order to do that.
That is so wonderful. That's so articulate and eloquent. And you know what I'm really glad to hear? That you only started this 3 years ago. So it's not like you've been doing this since your 20s and your 30s.
No.
You only literally picked this up 3 years ago, which is not very long ago at all. So ladies, hearing this, regardless of what age you are, you can pick it up now. So you started with going to a painting party.
Mm-hmm. And then this year in January, I started reaching out and connecting with other entrepreneurial women to get out of my rut that I had got myself into.
Right.
That's just been a few months.
And and then you joined our community Yeah,
Right.
and you're active, you're engaging with us. Now you're meeting us from all around the world and stuff like that. That's so cool. So Emily,
Exciting.
that is so wise what you just shared. So Emily, what would be your advice to women, who look at you and say, oh my God, I wish I could do that?
So you're going to hear my dog for
That's
just a
okay.
moment.
That's okay.
She's on it when there's someone outside, like the mailman or something. Thank you, Lila. Sorry.
That's
So
okay.
what I would say is to listen to that internal nudge when you have one, when you hear that little twinkling of an inspiration that comes in, to maybe note that in your journal. I don't necessarily journal every night, but I have one that I just keep next to my bed, and I will sometimes write only 2 or 3 sentences in it, just sort of reflecting on my day and something I learned that day, and something that just sort of what nudges I'm getting, and what I intend to do about it tomorrow or the next day. And then in the morning, I will review that, and and I have to recommit to it, because sometimes I'll get inspired, and then the schedule takes over. And literally at the beginning of this week, I scheduled art. Like, I just blocked out time where I all I wrote was art, because I wasn't getting to it with the end of school, 2 kids in schools, and so my internal nudge was, yeah, I'm really beginning to feel this unease in me, and what is that? What does it mean? And kind of wrote about it and went, yeah, I need to create. I need something kind of like what you said, Deborah, like I need something that's just me. It isn't about, my kids or work or anything else. It's just some way where I'm going to express. So, and then taking action. I love that you said that, because nothing's going to change if you don't, make a move. So finding some way of either getting out into the world with it, or finding a forum, whatever. There's a million forums online where you can just get started asking questions. And my favorite is YouTube. So that's what I kind of do for anything, like unclogging the drain, making a meal, or learning how to do how do you do that thing? YouTube.
You go on YouTube. So ladies, as a final thing for our audience who is watching us, and again, we gave you the place where you can go see Emily's art. And Deborah, I hope you put something up in the future.
I have a website.
Oh, okay. What is your website, Deborah?
It's alifeofloveandbalance.com.
A life with an A in front.
Yes, alifeofloveandbalance.com.
Okay, wonderful. A life of love and balance.com. That's wonderful. And she does great work. So ladies, the thing that I like to just leave, and I like to include something there. So women, when you feel like you don't have the time, okay, I really want to remind you to know within your heart, I am going to take this time for myself because I deserve it. So I really want each of you to own that. And that is the best way I can love everybody around me, by taking the time and caring and loving myself. So what would you like to leave each of these women when they kind of, like everybody else is pulling on you and they're saying, well, they want you to make them a priority over yourself. What is it that you would like to leave every woman with in terms of just really standing in your power and knowing that you got to take care of yourself? What is your suggestion for them?
No is a complete sentence. And really, I've had to learn how to say no to my family over the last couple of years, and it's been the best thing for me. And I think for them too, because then when I come back refreshed. So saying no, and for me, taking a deep breath. Sometimes that is a great reset, to just take a deep breath, and whatever I'm thinking about that I would like to do, if I sometimes just take 5 minutes and literally stop everything and go paint something without any outcome based anything about what it's going to look like, but just to paint out my idea or draw out a piece of jewelry, even if I don't have time to like start, making it. There's something so satisfying about taking a first step, and it can be done in just 5 minutes.
Great. Yeah, it's so practical. I love that, Emily. So Deborah, what is your
Well, what I do is I call it the pause. And sometimes it's kind of like what Emily said, that it's just taking a few moments during my busy day where I just close my eyes and take some deep breaths and remind myself that if I want to other care, I must self-care. Because it's like if I have a little cup of tea and I give you my tea and I give you a little of my tea, then I have no tea. But if I have a pot of tea and we all have cups, then we all get some tea.
That is great.
Nice. I love that.
That is so great. So this is so great that you leave as a tea, because this is sort of like, I feel like it's us women chatting around together from our living room, just like our virtual kitchen tables. So Emily, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
And Deborah, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's been a joy. It's been a joy.
Yeah, and I've had so much fun. So ladies, join us. Join our private community. Come to the Heart of All Women. And then, join our private community, which is actually different than the Facebook website. All right. We actually have a private community that you can join us, where we're doing all kinds of wonderful circles and virtual kitchen tables and having these kind of conversations, sharing online. So, all right. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.